Hello, people. I am Jaby Koay, joined by Rachel McDermott. And before we jump into this, how many stunt jobs over the years would you, if you had to guesstimate, like how many stunt gigs have you done?
Well, I was an actor for so many years, and then I only recently got into stunts, so I've only had like officially 3 jobs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One was on a TV show doubling, and then 2 movies.
So you have some stunt experience.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I wanted to highlight.
I was stunt adjacent for many years.
I would say that's more me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, stunt adjacent, because it's not like the narrow focus I've had. Stunts have come up, of course, you know, given what I'm passionate about, but it's related to this because it's called Fearless Nadia, Bollywood's HUNTERWALI stunt woman. Bollywood's HUNTERWALI and action queen of the 1930s, Fearless Nadia is receiving a long overdue tribute at the Alchemy Festival in London's South Bank Centre. Burritos. That's what that was. I had a chicken burrito. And funny.
I can tell.
Funny, can you really? Funny enough, I ran into an old friend while there, Timothy Ulick, who's also he's a stunt coordinator, and he just happened to be sitting right there. Oh, he works a lot, and I haven't seen him in like 12 years, something crazy. Like it's been so long since I've seen him, and Achara wanted burritos because we just got done watching Star Wars. So we drove, I quickly got a table, and I happened to be sitting with him. Like, of all the people, he doesn't even live in Sherman Oaks. He lives somewhere else. I'm not gonna say where, in case y'all are trying to be stalkers and shit. So, and so that's just a funny coincidence. Small world it is. And here we go.
If you talk to people who paid 2 annas for a ticket, as they flock to the fancy picture palaces of yesteryear, they will tell you about the first time they encountered the blonde, blue-eyed, celluloid image of Fearless Nadia. The experience was magical. She blazed across the Indian screen of the 1930s and 40s. Fearless Nadia created a unique persona for herself that has been hitherto unparalleled.
But Nadia's story begins far away from the Indian subcontinent, when in 1910 she was born and baptized Mary Evans.
I was born in Perth, Australia, Western Australia. I must mention that it's such an map. Then you see, my mum and dad came to Bombay. And ever since then, I've been here.
Her father, Herbert Evans, was a soldier in the British Army, and her mother, Margaret, a housewife. Young Mary's idyllic youth was soon shattered when the Kaiser declared war on the British Empire, and Herbert Evans's regiment was shipped overseas.
After that, they went to war, 1914 war. Unfortunately, my dad died there, in France. So Mum and I were alone, and I was in school for 8 years.
It was during this time that Mary became interested in the new medium of cinema that was sweeping the nation.
Every week we used to come home, and my mum used to send me to pictures. And I loved all the pictures, what was Ruth Roland, Pearl White, Douglas Fairbanks, all stunt pictures. And I used to say to myself, I wish I could do this one day.
Another person who was captivated by the cinema was Jamshed Wadia. A scion of an illustrious Parsi family, Jaby H, as he came to be known, avidly spent his youth in the darkened halls of the cinema theatre.
In 1928, overriding the objections of his upper-class westernized family, Jaby H. Wadia gave up a promising career in banking and law to plunge headlong into the then suspect world of filmmaking.
2 years later, his younger brother Homi expressed a desire to join him. With JBH producing and directing, and Homi turning the camera and editing, the Wadia brothers' partnership began.
Wow.
Then something unexpected happened. Fearless, she was Miss Nadia at that time,
She was brought into my company by one Mr. Kanga, who had seen her on the stage in Lava.
Now you see, so I decided to reduce. So the only way to go to reduce is a dancing school. It was run by a Russian lady called Madame Ostrova.
Madame Ostrova made simple Mary Evans change her name to the more exotic sounding Nadia. Unhappy with the circus lifestyle, Nadia returned to the stage and even learned Hindi songs as part of her act.
Anyway, I met Jamson and Homi, and they asked me, what could you do? Could you ride? Could you drive? Could you do anything? I could do anything once.
As shooting progressed, Homi innovated on Nadia's character, making her do unusual stunts, earning her the sobriquet, Fearless Nadia.
You see, another shot was, I was on top of the roof, and Sani was fighting with me. Then Homi said to me, carry him. I said, I've never carried a man before. I'll try anything once. So I took him, carried him on my back, and that was my first experience of carrying a man. Homi made me start carrying everybody after that. Naughty boy.
These heroines were usually very meek, dumb ladies who did whatever their husbands wanted them to do. And even when they revolted, they did it in a very womanly, a very sort of shy manner. Here, on the other hand, was a woman who could lift men, throw them around. She did all the stunts herself. The sort of roles Amitabh Bachchan plays are, in a sense, a subtler, more insidious form of roles that were played by Nadia. There is an undercurrent of similarity going throughout. And the changes, such as they appear to us, are merely changes on the surface.
Nadia's unconventional screen persona was a mixture of self-mocking femininity, wondrous agility, and unabashed sexuality.
What? All right, I'm awake.
This allowed her to portray fictional fantasy characters with a great degree of believability. Violent, yet benevolent. Voluptuous, yet prim. Nadia played the whole gamut. In a career spanning 30 years, she carved for herself a unique niche on the Indian screen.
Nadia raised the stunt form to an art form, which to my mind is as significant historically as any other art form. In fact, if I may conclude, I would say that Nadia was to stunt films what, say, Jane Russell is to sex.
In a medium that breeds stereotypes, Fearless Nadia still stands out as a symbol of individuality. An icon of popular culture, she will forever be remembered as HUNTERWALI, the lady with the whip.
When you said that looks intimidating about the lions, I'm like, what part? The part where she's hugging the lion, or where the other lion is on top of her back? That's scary.
You see her face go like, and then she smiles through it,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Oh yeah. Fearless Nadia was quite bold, quite fearless. Definitely the name suits her. To me, the word fearless is very interesting because it's not so much fearless as it is you're working through the fear. You're sort of dancing with it and dealing with it. Like when I'm driving, Achara gets freaked out in the car. Not to make this about me at all, but I'm just making a reference. She gets freaked out when I'm driving because I'm driving a stick shift, like I'm in Fast and the Furious. And it's like, it's not that I'm not afraid of stuff happening. It's that I'm working through it. And I feel like that's the case for a lot of people. I don't know.
well, it's exciting. So the fear is always there as long as she's willing to do it.
Right. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like for you doing stunts and whatever, it's like there is a fear element there, but you're sort of working through it. You're sort of turning it into excitement.
Excitement, yeah.
And so there's that as well. She's feeding off of that and getting excited by it. So I wouldn't say it's fearless, but it does have a cool ring to it, Fearless Nadia.
Well, it's like the Evel Knievel type idea of it where people see that and like, I would never take my hand and open up like a lion's
Right.
snout like that.
Yeah.
And jump over people and off a roof and things, especially back then.
I think the same thing goes with Evil Knievel. Like you just said, Evil Knievel, right? And so like, I'm sure he's afraid when he goes to do it, but he like works through it. And it's not fearless. It's there's no good word for it. Just courageous, yeah. I suppose it is courageous. It's brave. She's brave, Nadia is what I would call her, but fearless has a cool ring to it. And it's so fascinating to see her as this older woman. I don't know how else to put it. She just looks like a grandmother, like just very chill. Looking at her, you'd never know that she had that history.
And then you're like, my grandma's a badass.
Yeah, you just would never know that she did all that stuff. That's bananas. There was some cool stuff with the fight scenes and whatnot. It's some cool stunts that she was doing where you saw her go through that little. What's also interesting is seeing how everything has evolved, like with movies and action and whatnot.
Through the window and
Yeah, it has to be so much more agile now and fluid, whereas back then it was acceptable for it to look a little bit rough around the edges. And there was something just raw about it. Some of the fighting in there looked ahead of its time to me. You look at stuff from black and white era, silent film era, or whatever the case may be, and you see how they move, and there's a cartoonishness to it, whereas here, while it did retain some of that cartoonishness, it had a visceralness to it as well.
Yeah, and the first opening of it where she was fighting someone and then she like wraps her legs around them and pulls them down. I was like, that definitely wasn't just like a place. It was like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it felt visceral. I liked it. The stuff out the window was interesting, where she gets knocked out the window near the beginning of the video. So, firstly, I might as well go for it. This would not work, and it would be, they'd have to do a redo. Dude punched her this way, and her face went this way.
No.
And then she goes out the window. It's like, back then that was okay. In The Godfather, a classic film, there's a part where Sonny punches this guy in the street, and it misses by like a foot. But they put the sound effect in there, and so people just go with it. You know,
Indiana Jones punches him and he spins the other way.
Oh yeah, this happened in Indiana Jones. So this problem had been going on for a long time. You don't see this anymore. She goes out the window, and I wasn't sure if it was. I mean, it must have been real. You look at that, and you're like, "There's no way that was like a green screen," because they weren't doing that. What it could have been is a rear screen projection. That's the only thing I can think of that it might have been.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that.
It's not green screen for sure. I mean, it's black and white. Yeah, it's rear screen projection, or they're really doing it.
Thought that she's pretty incredible, just that she adapted and was then taught herself like to dance and with a Russian instructor, then taught herself to sing and dance and learn different languages to just like further her craft and make money.
Yeah.
And then on screen doing things that no one really was doing at that time.
I think that's inspiring that she is this outlier, whatever I never figured out how to pronounce that word, but.
Never really said it out loud.
Outlier. Okay, so that's it. So she was an outlier in her time. And I think that's super cool because this is one of those classic things where 60 years ago, if a woman wanted to get a job, it's like, women don't do that. Oh yeah? Watch this. It's neat to see someone do something like that where you're going against the grain and doing something just because you're passionate about it. And think about how many people didn't do something that they had a secret passion for because society told them you're not supposed to. So to me, that's a very inspiring story. I never knew about her, and I'm very happy to learn about her. I hope that a film is actually made about her because I think it's worthwhile. Like, you got a true story, you know, from Bollywood. I feel like this would be interesting for both the States and India. It's also fascinating to me that she was Caucasian. We still have this today in India where you sometimes will have this Caucasian actress that just shows up, and it's just because there's a fascination with a Caucasian talent. There's a movie called 2.0 where there's a Caucasian actress in there, and I'm like, I don't know why she's in this movie. This is so random.
Yeah, there is some sort of attraction. One of my friends has blonde, really curly hair and bright, big blue eyes, and for work was over in India and was stopped every day, like throughout the day, constantly, and people wanted to take photos with her. I was like, what do you do with those photos?
How did you feel? I mean, I'm gonna phrase this in the dumbest way that I can. Like, as a woman who does action and whatnot, how did you feel about this?
It's crazy that, like you said, I wasn't aware of her, but I'm excited to learn more about her. And when I leave here, I'm actually going to look up more about her. I think it's great to open up and paving the way for others to do this. Yeah. I want to know more.
Me too. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and hopefully you enjoyed the reaction and discussion. And be sure to check out Rachel McDermott on the social media. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon so you get notified every time we drop another video. Check out our other reactions, reviews, short films, blogs, interviews. Keep it real, stay genuine. I am Jaby Koay. This is
Rachel McDermott.
Peace out.